What is going on, everyone? We are going live. It is Friday. I have a lot to talk about. Heading down to Stillwater for a mini vacation and a little, just hanging out and learning some things, And it's going to be awesome. And I want to talk about this boom box that I got from Cornut. So without further ado, I got a few quick clips to show you, and then we're going to start our intro, and we're going to talk all about it, and we're going to keep it going about power. Man, you can never talk about power enough. So let's get it going.
Tuesday, 7:30, right here on the Kicker Unmasked show. We've got the one, the only, Andy McGill. Need I say more? I don't think so. Hey guys, we had a great show last week. We had SpeedCore on. If you don't know who SpeedCore is, they're the ones that build those $1 million carbon fiber absolutely pieces of automotive art. This week we got Andy McGill on. We're going to go behind the scenes and talk about his show and his history in car audio. It'll be a lot of fun. So join us right here 7:30 Central Time on the Kicker Unmasked show, right here on the Kicker YouTube and Facebook channel. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Mother Nature, for that little bit of rain you gave us. That's really teasing. We could use some more. Come on, really?
Yo, 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 what is going on? Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. It is Friday, and of course we have a lot to talk about, but this is the show where we talk about pretty much anything that's going on car audio-wise. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I wanted to throw up the two things there, the two videos, just because I want to let everyone know I will be down Stillwater this weekend. I'll be down there around Sunday, and I will be on the Unmasked show live in studio, so that's going to be awesome, man. And, I wanted to talk about that, going down there, and just my endeavors with that, and the corn nut kicker box. I mean, do you know how hard it was for me to keep that under wraps? Like this beautiful kicker box that's just amazing, where it's all 12-volt technology, kicker marine head unit, kicker 6.5 CSs, the CX 400.1, the kicker comp C, all in one box, and it's tuned way below 40 hertz. So this thing is just awesome, and it's loud. It is loud. I took it to the one show, and it got a lot of compliments, man. Between it sounds good, it's loud. It was keeping up with the guys with the stunt walls. Now, I gotta admit, it was a little bit louder than me, but for what it was, it is awesomely loud, and it annoys the neighbors enough to, we shouldn't crank that up full tilt boogie. But I just wanted to go over that, and if you guys haven't seen the full video yet, I just dropped it about not even an hour ago, so go check it out. It's okay, I'll let you go. You can go check it out. It's a really good video. Just going out there, checking it out, and picking it up, and opening it, and talking about it. It's really cool, and then you come back here and tell me what you thought about it. But I wanted to throw that video on there just in case you didn't want to do that, and just hang out with me, see what it is. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. William, thank you for tuning in, man. I know you're not feeling too good. Thank you as well for tuning in. Hey, it's Living Loud with Andy, Friday night, up all night. Your rock star buddy. Great intro as always. Thank you, man. And I had to keep the OG intro because I know you guys want to dance before we get the party started. So I had to throw it in there. But I was like, man, I got these good videos here, and I just want people to know, So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Stu, what is going on? Andy in the house, thank you for tuning in, buddy. I have a lot of things to go over, but at the same time, it's like, I got the apps going. If you guys have any requests, maybe you got your future build coming up. I know El Fuego had that one question with his electrical, how much power can he run? Or if you guys just have any questions, I got it sitting right here, and we can play with the numbers. That's what I do on my free time. I play with the numbers, and I think it's pretty cool to do that kind of stuff. Cody, what is going on, my dude Andy? What's good? It is Friday, and it's weird because this isn't the after show. Usually I stream twice with the Rolling Thunder. Those guys, Scott's having a little bit of problem with his door staying together, and they had a team meeting dinner, so it's okay. It's okay. I was like, you know what? That gives me a little bit more time to relax right before the show, get a couple more things prepared, get it going. But you know what? We are here. We are live and direct. Thank you for tuning in, Cody. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. Cornut the caboose, the kicker caboose box. It knocked my clock off while during tuning. For what it is, it is loud. I like the way you designed, at least the specs wise, with the enclosure. A lot of port area, tuned low. It gets loud and it sounds really musical, for what it is, man. It's a boombox on steroids. It's a home audio system. It really is. Think about, like putting 212s, like old school floor speaker types. And it's going to be loud, if not louder than that. And it's nice little portable, it's so unique and cool, man. Thank you so much again, buddy. I appreciate that. I really do. It's crazy to get something like that. And then for, just my people that watch me and stuff, it just gives me goosebumps. It really does. William, so it's kicking it with Andy live. Yes, pretty much. Kicker Tuesday Unmasked, leaps and bounds, buddy. Andy. Thank you, man. I've been dying to go down to Stillwater and to just get a tour of the facility. I've seen every tour video there is. It's like I almost know the place, but when I go there, I know it's going to be an entirely different experience. And, obviously there's some things they don't shoot on camera, wink. And there's that, but it's just going to be cool to be able to, step my feet, walk and, walk into the building, look down and see Sola de Gloria, you know, and see the Wall of Boom and all the L7s and just, you know, that. That. Even outside the parking lot's going to be cool, let me tell you. But it's just, you know, I'm so excited. I don't really get excited for things until they're here. And I think we're close enough to say we're here. And it's going to be awesome, man. And to be on the Unmasked show, I mean, come on, let's do it. I'm ready. I'm ready. Jacob Lee Lucky, thank you for tuning in, man. Looking forward to meeting you next week. Absolutely, man. I know you're one of the very few Kicker employees, at least the guys that go out everywhere, that I haven't met yet, but you'll be doing the same thing they've been doing. So, man, you know, it's going to be awesome to meet you, buddy. And congratulations, by the way, on the promotion. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Jacob Shockley, Justin Shockley, too many J's. What's up, guys? Finally made it to the start of the show. Thank you for tuning in, man. I know we're just, you know, we're going to be talking about power. If you guys got questions about power and stuff, and I'm just, you know, ranting about my weekend. It's going to be a crazy weekend, and I mean, come on. The Caboose Cornut Kicker Box. That thing is awesome. Have to talk about it. El Fuego, Andy, remember me when you draw prizes. You know what, El Fuego? I don't have to remember you, man. I swear you win every time. It's like you know the zeros and ones. It's like you have accomplished the matrix with the Kicker Unmasked giveaway. I still need to message you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Abdel, thank you for tuning in, man. What is up, buddy? Almost got my system ready to go. Awesome, dude. I know you and Seth have been working on that. He did some body work on your car. Looks good, by the way, and thanks for joining us tonight. Wade, what's crack-a-lackin'? Not too much, man. You know the biz. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Let's see here. Kyle Davis, what's up, Andy McGill? What is going on? Thank you for tuning in tonight. We're gonna have a pretty good show. We're talking about power. We're just gonna skim the surface, you know, and then we'll dive deep. And if you guys got some kind of question, I am more than happy to talk about it. And speaking of which, we got, you know, Explicit from the Ultimate Car Audio app watching us. So if you have any questions, ask him or me. We are here to help. Anyone got a link to this thing? A link to what, sir? What do you need a link for? Thanks for tuning in, by the way. Man, I got some heartburn today. Woo! Didn't do too much, just preparing for leaving for the weekend. Cleaning up the house. My parents are going to come over and watch the kids while we're gone, which will be nice for me and Kayla to just get a little bit of relaxation and stuff, hanging out. And I mean, come on, we're going to be down in Stillwater. Blake, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Saw you at the MBE live show. I got to catch that a little bit since we didn't have the Rolling Thunder. It goes right in between the Rolling Thunder and my live show, MBE's. I you know, you want to tell someone to move their show to a different time, but you can't. I try to watch them all. Same thing with like Sound Advice and Base Wars. You know, they go live literally the same time, and you know, you kind of bounce back and forth, and it's tough. But hey, there's only so much time in the week, I guess. Yes, Cornut, yes, the video I posted 20 minutes ago. You know, I was like, you know what, should I do it before or after? I'm like, I'm going to do it before. You know, I just want to get it out there, you know, and it'll be a few other places too. Cornut, just so you know, it will be on Kicker. I didn't want it, you know, there's the rabbit. It's out of the hat. But yeah, it'll be on there too. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to post it. It's Friday. I'm going down to Stillwater. I want to be just, you know, get some stuff out there for you guys, get it off my chest. I mean, come on, it was driving me crazy not being able to talk about this thing. Blake says, I ripped some of my hair out trying to tell a guy in MBE's chat that no amp can be 400% efficient. I mean, if you're talking some nuclear, no, I'm just kidding. The only thing that's 100% efficient is a heater. Because all the heat that it doesn't produce as heat, it is wasted as heat. That's it. And I mean, there was the Warhorse. That was 95%. I feel like that was the most efficient amplifier. Even maybe to this day, I don't know. I feel like it really was. You know, there was pros and cons with that, with the push-pull effect. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you wanted to be loud and power wasn't as available as it is today, it's not like they didn't have batteries and high output alternators. but it just wasn't so much. The price, just like anything. You first bought your first flat screen TV, it probably cost $2-3 grand. You can go buy that same TV today of that, stature for $500-600, or maybe less, who knows. It's just the price of things have went down, and power's been more readily available. Just, you type in battery, you get, 30 different companies selling the same thing, or maybe, you know how it goes. Blake, I will be in Stillwater on Sunday. I hope that if you have a bit of free time, we could chill for a little bit. I just don't know what exactly, where I'll be at which day, and I don't want to say, hey, I'm meeting somebody, and when they have something planned for me, I'm sure, I'll have some free time, I'm sure we can make something work, because I know you and Bubba and Wade and a few other people, and even Vega, man, if we could do something, that would be awesome, but I kind of need to talk to some people, as soon as I get there, or, maybe a little heads up. I just don't want to ask questions. I'm going there to enjoy the kicker experience, like this is my moment. That's how I kind of feel, but I do want to see you guys, and I do want to, be able to, that would be a win-win for everybody. And shoot, man, I feel like it could happen. I really do. I will keep you guys all posted. Who knows? Absolutely, man. Again, thank you for tuning in. Gotcha, Jeff. I'll definitely give you a wink. Gotta watch what kind of winks, though. Some winks will get you in trouble. Stu from the custom shop. Okay, Andy, how much power is a good rule of thumb for an SP? An SP. I'm confused on the SP, but when I first got into car audio, not car audio, but like building custom boxes and just, hanging out with the big league people, bigger than a 140 build. And that was one of the first things I heard the word thrown around was rule of thumb. And rule of thumb, I don't like it, just because it doesn't work for every application. It really doesn't. But I mean, shoot. Within reason, you can get away with a lot of things, but then it's like, okay, well, it worked for me, but it's not working for you. So that's where, every vehicle's different, every build's different. There's so many variables, but to give a general idea, like literally when I tell people, once you have an amp that's like 600 RMS and up, start to think about upgrading your electrical more than just big wire, because you can have big wire and it's going to put a lot less strain in a way, but actually it could induce more, because then your alternator is actually working harder because it's putting out more current, because there's less restrictions, or I'm sure there's variables each, maybe you're just not getting that power and the alternator is actually trying to provide it, but the wire's too small. So I don't know about that, but I feel like once you get over that threshold of 600 RMS, because you're going to be seeing 300 to 500, clamped, that's when you're going to see a lot of voltage drop and strain on your electrical system. That's why your alternator is built for your car's accessories and a few things extra, not a giant subwoofer system in the back of your car making your windshield and wipers and everything flex. It's not designed in that way. So if that was the case, they would put 300 amp alternators in your car stock, but that's not the case. And then that's why a lot of diesel cars, they have bigger alternators and just for what their purpose is. So that rule of thumb thing, I kind of hate it, just because I had a bad experience building my first enclosure when they said rule of thumb, 12 to 16 square inches of cube area. Oh man, that box was a flop, and all it could play was 33 hertz. And it was tuned at like 32. So it just had way too much port area. The box was way too big, but it was within the specs. And it was within the rule of thumb, but it just didn't work because that's just not how box designing. There's no rule of thumb. There really isn't. Now, if I would have put different drivers in there, maybe I could have got away with it, but it still wasn't a great orientation. You would almost need like a 15 or an 18 instead of two 12s, and then maybe the port area is too small. So there's a lot of variables with that, and that's that rule of thumb, man. I do not enjoy it, but thanks for tuning in, man. Okay, let's see. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Oh, the Cornut Box. Yes. Just go, literally exit here and go to my last video I uploaded. It's the last video I just posted it 20-30 minutes ago. Check it out, man. If you haven't already. Sorry, I'm kind of slow. I'm just trying to answer questions here. It's really cool, man. It's more than unique. It's beautiful. We got Tom Gilbert from Kicker Club. You know, I usually don't stream on Fridays through Kicker Club, but this was like kind of Kicker oriented because I will be on the Kicker Unmasked show live in studio this Tuesday, so it's just going to be awesome. And it's going to be weird because it's going to be 7:30 there. Not 8:30, and that's nice. I'll be there Sunday, so the jet lag will be gone, you know. Hopefully. But thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate that you're here. We got a few people. Brad Manning, feel free to stop by my shop while you're here, Andy. You know, I just don't know. I need to know more information. I just, man, I don't want to say too much. I am just so grateful that I am going there, and that's all I'm saying. You know, I would like to explore. You know, I feel like this is my first time going there, and it's not going to be my last. You know, and I would like to make it a thing where I just go and hang out for a week or two. You know, I love the beach and all, but I mean, that's somewhere that I wouldn't mind hanging out a little longer. But this is the first time, man. And I see myself being there quite often. So hopefully if I have some time and means of transportation, you know, no problem. You know, I try to fit everybody. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. But you know, it's an honor to be in this position, to have people that want to hang out with me and to be able to go down to Stillwater. It's awesome. It really is. Thanks for tuning in, man. All you guys are awesome. Wait, I know you had a question and I seen it on the live chat replay and I missed a few. I'm sorry. Thank you. This is why I wanted to do this. My question is about lithium. My plan is to run 4 L7X10s or 12s on 10,000 RMS. I'm curious about what size bank to run and should I need to do a battery delete in order to do the lithium bank. Well, man, that's 3 questions in one. First, input power is going to be very important on this. You can get away with a lot of people, like how they run those C-Max, and they're just very high dense, and you know the voltage just doesn't drop, and you know they're very, very strong batteries. You could go that route and get away with a lot less input current, but at the end of the day, you want something that is well balanced. So my suggestion to you, get ready to run 2 to 3 alternators minimum to be able to keep up with the amount of current that you are going to be demanding. Regardless of batteries and stuff like that, just so that at the end of the day, you know, your stuff is happy. And with the lithium bank, you know, how much amp hours, I mean, I can pull this up here and talk about that. We can kind of go into that to kind of show you, you know. And then with the lithium and battery delete, my suggestion to you, if you're going to do a battery delete, get ready to run a designated wire from your alternator to the lithium first. Don't even hook it up to the front, like where your, you know, your vehicle accessories are connected to. Run it to the lithium, because the alternator, I'm sure it changes if you have a alternator that has a regulated power supply or regulator externally. But if you're using, like, you know, a OEM regulator and you're trying to integrate it, like how my Eclipse is, I ran into a problem because I used a battery delete and didn't run the charge wire directly to the lithium. For some reason, with that type of charging, with the alternator, with the regulator that was still stock, it had a problem recognizing that there was a battery there for some reason. So at idle, I had barely any current. Until I started to just rev it, I would be fine. So it turned out it was just because I didn't have a designated wire running from front to back. Now, you can do that and then you'll be good. You can hook your battery up to your battery delete up in the front, but then you have to run your wire that you normally would front to back for the battery delete for your car's accessories and stuff like that. So, I mean, since you're running 10,000 watts, I'm sure a couple extra runs in different directions is not going to change your mind about things. So that's my suggestion, to do that, and then run how many runs you're running. You know, if you got a 300 amp alternator, run at least 1 or 2. If you got like a 400 amp alternator, I feel like 2 is more important than, you know, running just one because you might be putting a lot of strain or choking out the alternator's performance just because it's a bigger one, just because of the distance and resistance and how all that stuff works. Now, the whole lithium and AGM and the resting voltages and charging voltages are going to be more of a problem than just, you know, the battery delete itself. It's, if in most cases with lithium, is they rest high. You know, my buddy Seth, his car is always sitting at 15.1. I'm like scratching my head, like, how is it sitting at 15.1? But I mean, that's just how they are. It's just like the lithium that's in your vape. You know, it's a higher resting voltage because it's a higher nominal voltage. It's just how they're wired in series to get a voltage, usually 3.2 volt cells or 3.7 compared to 2.1. So then you're going to have some differences, and that's the main problem with it, is when you shut it off and it's not charging. One, they're resting different, so the lead acid or AGM is always going to be pulling off the lithium. And then when you're charging it, you're either overcharging the AGM or lead acid or undercharging the lithium. So you're kind of stuck, especially when you run like lithium iron titanate and stuff like that, where depending the voltage, 3.7 I think, or 3.2 those are. No, those are 3.7. Very high voltage. Charge at 15.5. You know, your AGMs are not going to like that. They're just it's gonna shorten their lifespan really fast. So I mean, honestly, let me pull up the let me scroll down here real fast here. Yeah, I'm really far behind. I'm so sorry, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Got Blaine Hastings, thank you for tuning in. Basehead Budget, appreciate you guys. I just wanted to get it to a couple of these sorry, it's gonna glitch a little bit here. I wanted to get to a couple of these questions that I missed with the power, because I was really rambling on the Kicking It with Andy show this Tuesday. But I wanted to answer some of your guys' questions too. So let's just see how much, in theory, how much lithium we need for this setup here. Let me share my screen real fast. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. I sound like the cat on Lightyear. Okay. Where are we at? Oh, I'm over here. There we go. That's why. Uh-oh. Touchy, touchy. Electrical calculator. How much power your system can run. So, we're going to leave the alternator amperage alone for a minute. We're going to go to your lithium batteries, just by themselves, what they can do is standalone. I'm going to say at least 200 amp hours of lithium, if not more. And we're going to lower the efficiency, because I feel like no amplifier is 80% efficient how we're running it. So you got 15,000 watts. Now remember how I was explaining this earlier, where it's not perfect, but it gives you an idea what you can run. So 200 amps of lithium, and say you just run one alternator, we'll say 200, because you're not getting all that 320 out of there anyway. You're really not. You might get more, you might get less. So 17,000 watts. Now again, there are a lot of variables to this. So let's go remove this again, because I want to show you something cool. I was looking at this more. So we got 200 amp hours of lithium, and that's very generic, and we got 15,000 watts. Try to remember that, guys. Now I'm going to go down here, Lithium Calculator. Now this is where you kind of get kind of crazy. Now amp hour rating, now we're going to go with that 200, because that's what we were talking about recently. Now this whole discharge C rating is where, you know, push comes to shove. Okay, alternator voltage, let me just do 14. Well, we're going to be resting higher than that. We'll say 15. I should be able to do it without the, yeah. 48,000 gigawatts, but that's with a discharge rating of 20C. So that's 20C times 200. That's a lot. That's like 4,000 amps discharge. That's a lot of power. So we'll just say, like, I don't know, what's like normal 12,000 watts. And I feel like, you know, that's more realistic of the kind of power that you're going to be able to do with that lithium standalone. With 200 amps, and then with the input power of your alternator is really going to say how long you're going to be able to keep up with that. So if you have that 1200 watts, and with that 200 amps at the 5C rating, so that's what, that's 1,000 amps of output current. 1,000 amps are coming out of your battery. I believe that's right. 1,000 amps are coming out, and that's how much you can supply. And that makes sense because on the Warhorse they suggested 1,000 amp of supply of alternators. So if you would have 4 250 amp alternators, let me pull this down. If you would have 4 250 alts, you would be more than perfect, and that's kind of like the kind of setup where it would be your voltage ain't dropping, you're in the most picture perfect world, and you're set, you're good to go. But if you had one alt, you're charging your batteries 250 amps and they're discharging the other 750 as it's charging, you know, so it's like, how long can you play? And there's a lot more variables in that, but I thought that that chart right there gives you a clear indication of how strong your battery is by the C rating, because the C rating is how they rate the amp hours, and I'm sure there's more to it than just how I did it, because how you know, you want to look at one battery and then be like, okay, my one battery has 45 amp hours and it has a discharge of 8, you know, and then you multiply the two, and then how many you have in parallel is, you know, kind of your reserve idea of how much power that you can dish out at once. Like how I was talking about the JYHP40 and how that's 40 amp hours, but a 2C rating, and that's conservative. Realistically, it's like a 5C rating to do that 200 amp continuous, and a, what was it, a 10C rating for the burst, and that was 400 amps. So, and that's a lithium iron phosphate, a safer chemistry, less dense, less strong compared to lithium ion and lithium titanate. And, you know, there's better options out there. But for the novice that's getting into lithium, I feel like the lithium iron phosphate is the safest, and it's the price is it's there, where it's still way worth it to get that over lead acid or AGM for what we're doing. Now, if you're, you know, low discharge, you're on a lake and you need your radio to play at 10 amps for, you know, 10 hours, you want a deep cycle. You don't want a lithium. It's just not worth it in the end, because your amp hours are the same regardless, just because of the capacity that it has. But it's the discharge and recharge values. When you see these values of discharge and recharge, that's why the the lithium can charge, you know, from completely dead to like fully charged within like 15, 20, 30 minutes, because it can pull it and push it faster than the AGM just because of the chemistry. And that's the most crazy bonkered thing. I wanted to do a video over lithium iron phosphate and why it's better with this awesome website. It's like literally like 20, 30 pages long. Of just information, and I wanted to do a voiceover of it and kind of show pictures, and I got 30 minutes in, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then I lost half of it, and I said, you know what, I'm over it. So that's why I was kind of happy I did the last episode with Kicking with Andy with the power, because I was like, man, I kind of touched on a lot of things from that article, you know, with like the state of charge of just, you know, sitting on a shelf. Different batteries of different chemistries have, you know, a greater or slower rate of just that, you know, and how AGMs work better in the cold, you know, or maybe not as good as a lead acid, but, you know, there's different there's different batteries for everything, you know. Starting batteries are going to be better than a maybe a lithium to a point, because of the low voltage of how low they drop, and is that safe for the lithium, where lithium, you know, the BMS has a cutoff for low voltage and high voltage, and there's a reason why. But that's also the reason why they're stronger and more efficient in a way. I know that might be misinformation, but to me they're more efficient. You look at the size of a lithium, it's the size of your desktop, you know, and you look at an AGM bank from, you know, for somebody that had your amount of power, that thing was 20, 30 batteries deep, you know, so I would say more efficient. Thanks for your question there, and that's exactly what I wanted to do tonight. To just go over your guys' question about power. I know I kind of, you know, the Kicking It With Andy show is more to give you guys information, obviously interact with you guys as much as I can, but, you know, it's just more, it's more to show you guys kind of things, you know, information, and to be able to talk about it. And this show is more, you know, it's always the laid back, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try to stick to a little bit of a topic tonight. Just because the last one was so good, and I was like, you know what, power. I love talking about it because it's the number one question that comes up. Explicit car audio. What's up, Tom? Again, 250 amp alt, group 34 up front, and a pair of group 31s in the back per 5K amp is my rule of thumb. Right, and you know what? It depends that 5K amp, though. You know, and that's why I hate that rule of thumb, just because, like, if it was like a full bridge, you know, yes, absolutely, man, because you're going to be pulling 4, maybe 500 amps of current. And with that 250 amp alternator, you know, I mean, I feel like you're okay, but you're still pushing it. And that's what I ran for a long time. I had a group 34 under the hood and 2 group 31s running on Cookie Monster on my 320 amp Ohio jet on the KXA 2400.1, and I know that amp, you know, pulls extra current, so it can pull like 400 amps of current when the voltage drops. So it's semi-regulated in a way. So I was pulling a little bit more current than somebody else, but it was just so it could make the same power. But that's half. You know, that's a 3,000 to 4,000 watt amplifier, we'll call it. And I was okay as long as I wasn't clipping, really. I was seeing 13s, but usually like 12.5, 12.9. It was okay, it was decent, but it wasn't perfect, you know. And I'm trying to set these guys up to get a system where it's like, listen, spend the extra money so that your voltage ain't dropping, you're not putting strain on your batteries, you're not putting strain on your alternator, and everything's running as good as it can. But, you know, that's the first step that, you know, you tell people, listen, upgrade your alt, upgrade your batteries, run this, and it's easy to be like, okay, here, you'll be good with your 5,000 watt amp, you'll be okay. And I mean, on a burst, absolutely, you know. But I just feel like people really push their equipment very hard, you know, and that's why they run into problems. But I mean, I don't see why not. You know, I could have ran a bigger amp, you know, with what I had. You can see 10 volts and it's okay. You know, usually if your amp's pretty stout, it's not going to blow up. It'll shut off. So like 10, 11 volts, and you could probably clamp 7,000 watts out of that setup and still be in the 11s, maybe 10s. But, you know, and it depends what amplifier you're clamping at 7,000 watts. How much is that inrush current that amplifier is demanding? So, and it's just, whew, man. You know, I'm used to cutting things to the edge, but I kind of hate it ever since I got my electrical where it should be. It's like, man, I was really pushing my stuff way too hard. And I feel like, you know, that's why stuff gives up. You know, it's just too much demand. You know, even with kicker speakers, people, they junk. They blew up, clipped them to death, but I have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's because you expected too much out of it. If you would have had 4 of those, you wouldn't have turned it up half as loud, or maybe you would have turned it up just as loud because you're like, wow, this is really loud. You know, and it's just within reason, man. You got to play your equipment. And that goes the same thing with the power. But, you know, with people getting into it, to give them that short answer of just, listen, how much can I get away with? Absolutely. Absolutely, because if you have a 250 amp alternator, that's going to be supplying most of the power. And an amplifier is not just clamping, you know, that 5,000 watts, you're not even going to see it because of rise and all that stuff. So maybe 2 to 4, depending your enclosure. And then the whole thing with efficiency, but your music's all over the place. Unless you're playing your, you know, low songs that your box doesn't like. And even your loudest score, say you're playing 46 hertz all day long. You know, that's the only time that you're going to see a lot of strain out of your system. Otherwise, you know, your amp's going to get a break in between those music pauses. So it's just, you can get away with it. Trust me. I've gotten away with things for a very, very long time. And it's just, I know my stuff is baby, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, when it's done right and I have enough power to supply everything, I don't have to worry about nothing. And it's like, I'm not worried about over pulling my BMS, where it's sending the BMS into protect on my lithium bank, because I feel like that's when lithium bank problems happen. You're pulling too much, the BMS does not shut down the amplifier, does not shut down the battery, and you pull too much from those cells, and those cells get too hot. I just know a little bit about it from vapes, you know, same deal. You know, I'm pulling 30 amps out of each one of these batteries, but they're rated for 35. And that's kind of pushing it, but I'm only hitting it for a couple seconds. Now, if I would run batteries in there that had 15 amp of discharge and more amp hours, yes, it would last longer, but I'm putting more strain on those batteries because they're being ramped up to 30 amps continuously over and over instead of 15 what they're rated at. So it's just like, you know, you can get away with things. You absolutely can, but you do put a lot of strain on it. I just feel. Appreciate you tuning in, man. AGM, not lithium. Right. Right. Let me scroll down here. We got 25. RGA, what is going on? Thanks for tuning in. Brian Townsend, appreciate you here. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. Sorry, you guys just got me on those rabbit holes. You know what happens. Okay, Brad. I didn't know you were right around the corner. That's quite convenient. Thanks for tuning in again, man. Thank you, Wade. I will, man. I will. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We got Blake. Cornut. DIY audio guy. Wow, 17 minutes ago. I am so far behind. Sorry, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. You know, if I'm getting super chats, I don't think I got one. Okay, good. I was like, oh, I swear to God, if that thing ain't working again. God, it's okay. I appreciate you guys just hanging out, you know, and it's hard to watch what I'm doing and have conversations in here, you know, and it's like, that's why I like doing the interaction stuff, you know. So I get to, yeah, the super chats aren't working again, unless I just totally missed it. I must have missed it. Deviant for life. Thank you for the super chat, man. We're going to pray that I missed it. On Friday, Andy be like, I'm going to let Deviant 25 go loose in the chat. 14.4 volt talk off the chain. Go, Andy. Thank you for tuning in, man. And you seen on one of the, I think it was, yeah, it was the video, yeah, the thumbnail. You're on there, man. You're on there. Always chasing that caboose, man. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your super chat, bud. All right, let me scroll down here. Base head budget. Can you run 8K with 250 amp alt and 260 AGM? Well, we can try that one real fast, huh? I think that's a good idea here. Let me pull up my screen. I feel bad that I'm not getting the comments. I'm trying my best. Let's see here. Power calculator. Okay, so 250 amp alt. We'll just put the 250, even though we know we don't get all of it out of there. It has to run stuff. Let's just see what we can get. And 260 amp of AGM. I'm going to say no, because that's almost what me and Thomas Van, Explicit Audio, were talking about. But let's just see how much this recommends. I mean, 260, that's decent amount. And we'll just keep that at 80 just because we're going to, best case. Okay, so there's that 5,000 watts. And it's like, yes, it could absolutely work. But then let's just see what happens when you run an amplifier that's not a full bridge and you're clipping. If you ever looked at Derek's Amp Dyno videos where, you know, he does the uncertified rating, well, if you ever notice, he never does the efficiency percentage for the uncertified. It's always the certified, because once you go past that 1% THD, your efficiency drops. So in the best case scenario, I'm going to say 65%. Let's just go with 60%. To see, you know, what kind of efficiency, even if you get like cheaper brands, Shark, Scar, you know, just of how they use their boards and the type of equipment that's in there, and the type of, you know, I don't know, design, things just tend to be less efficient. And just, you know, if it's half bridge or full bridge, there's lots of variables. So let's just type in 60% and see how much power. Wow, we lost 1,500 watts, and that obviously, but that's realistic of, okay, wow, I thought I would be okay with that, and I'm not, but at the same time, you can still do it. You can absolutely still do it, and your voltage is just going to drop more. You're going to have that input current. You'll be okay for a while, but 8,000 watts, man, I'm going to say you at least need another alternator. Let's just say you would keep that same efficiency, the same batteries, but then you'd run 2 alternators, okay? Telling you, alternators are very important. Whoa, 6,000 watts. So, I mean, it went up, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like this is really looking at the AGM's not really helping that much with the power, just because the type of batteries they are, and the input power, you're only going to have so much. You got 500 amps, you know, I feel like you're only going to be able to give out so many watts. You know, you have your 500 amps times the 14 volts. That's like literally kind of like the most that it can do of power. And I just, you know, the lithium is the key, man. Like, let's just say you ran that 250, and instead of running those 2 or 3 AGMs, let's just say you ran a like 2 JY40s or 2 JP40s, or just 80 amp, like, you know, some Yinglongs or something with 80 amp hours. Unless I did the wrong one. No, I might have done the wrong one, but either way, it's pretty close between the AGM and lead acid, but not a huge difference. The lithium is where it takes off. 8,400 watts with just 80 amps of lithium. So, I mean, let's compare it apples against apples. You were looking at 4,000 watts. It literally doubled. And yes, I know the amp hours is very low, but that's, again, not the point of the car audio side of batteries. So I hope that gives you an idea, you know, of how much power that you should really run. I think you're shortchanging yourself a ton, but that's just the whole name of the game with all this, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hope that answered your question a little bit there. The timer expired already, Andy. Oh no. It's okay. Andy, will you ever set up a voltmeter? I have them in both cars. The quad box, it has one on the NVX base knob, and then the voltmeter, you mean for my amp dynos? Because I know Cookie Monster got 2 of them, or 1. It's got a voltmeter and a thermometer. You mean for over here? I had one for, I just used a multimeter, but that's why I wanted to get a base knob that had a voltmeter and, well, base knob for the amp dynos. Oh, he missed the super chat. Yes, I did. I don't know. Yeah, it's not working. What happened? Dude, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And I know those $5, they stick up there for a while. Thank you for your super chat, Jeff. SJC, we are at a standstill again, unless I was talking too much again. I see it. I see it. When it works, it pops right up. No problem. My computer's telling me to update, but I don't trust it. I'll try redoing what I did before, but it's just like I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to. I didn't change any of the settings, and the only other thing I did was turn my super chat function off and then turned it back on in YouTube. So I don't know, but thank you, Jeff. Sadly, it's not. I think I'm just cursed to never be able to see my super chats. I know it's just... It's like you think you won, and that's why they say, like, don't knock on wood. Yeah, I knocked on the wood, man. They're gone. They're gone. Sorry, Wade. I know you're probably gone by now, but thanks for tuning in, buddy. I appreciate you here. Every power supply is the bottleneck. Right. It takes power to make power, and you got to make that power to supply that power. I guess that's different. Right. You know, that's why I was looking into, you know, doing bigger amps and stuff, but I'm like, I only have 120 amps of power supply. You know, my voltage, I don't run super high lithium batteries. If I did, I could probably clamp bigger amps, no problem. You know, if I had 200 amps of CMAX just sitting here and I charged them at like 15.5 and just let them sat, and then I go full tilt boogie on an 8,000 watt amp, it'll probably drop to 15.1, you know, or 14.9 or 14.5, and then I keep going, it'll drop down to 13 and then 12.5, you know, because there's not enough inrush current. So I try to tell people, you know, how much power you need. It's just something so it keeps up. You know, I hate when I had that pilot running and I had just that AGM back there and no JY, and I'm giving someone a demo. I am not joking. On that ultra capacitor, I watched that, like the voltmeter percentage thing, you know, I guess the capacitance. I literally watched this thing go ju, 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 you know, and it went down to like a certain point and just wouldn't go any further because it was just dead. And I'm like, man, so I got a good 20, 30 seconds out of this, and that's it. And then it's crazy how there was a battery there, two AGMs, a Kinetic 2400 and a Duracell, 70 amp and 110. So, but a stock alt. But regardless, this is what's funny. I still have a stock alternator, and I sit at 13.4s. I can drop to 12.8, but that JYHP40 is just able to charge and discharge faster, which is ultimately keeping the capacitor charged faster and longer. It does get drained only if I'm sitting at a red light, the AC's on, and I'm full tilt and I'm clipping. Then I watch that thing start to go down, but it goes down slower, a lot slower. And it takes a while, and it's like, man, I'm going to clip my subs. I'm worried about my subs before I am my electrical, and it's just one battery. So my rule of thumb, if you're going to get bigger system in your car, get a bigger system, go lithium. If you're going to, you know, go buy anything, buy lithium and make sure you know the charging voltages. So if you plan to keep a stock alt, you know, a lithium iron phosphate would be probably your better option. But if you plan to get a high output alternator eventually, man, you know, I feel like lithium iron phosphate will be a better overall term, but then you're shortchanging yourself because then you get a high output alternator, you can't charge as high, and you're just losing power. You have more voltage, you're going to have more power. Just how it works, man, for the same amount of current. So it's just, man, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's just crazy how much lithium makes a darn difference, and it's just the recharge value and the discharge value, and they don't even list that stuff on AGM batteries, and I wish they would. I really wish they would. Yeah, super chats aren't working, and that was a big one. I just seen another one. Oh man, it's not working again. I don't know, SJC. I don't know. I thought it was good. I really thought it was good. I'm like, that was 2 shows in a row. I didn't do anything with this computer. It's fine. Oh man, Baba, thank you. Chickadee check 1 2 1 2. Hit that like, y'all. I appreciate you guys just hanging out, tuning in. You know, this is just a kickback show. I'm kind of rambling on, but this is what we do here, man. It's already been 53 minutes, but I started early, and I mean, we can, as long as the conversation's still going, we'll keep it going. Thank you, man. And yeah, darn super chats, man. My goodness. $20 super chats, they stay for like 15 minutes and nothing. And you just posted that literally 5 minutes ago. Still, they stay for a while. There's no way. I would have seen it pop up. Man, oh man, it's okay. I'm just confused of what happened, why they stopped working again, because I thought I did something. It's okay. Actually, I'm upset. But new computer is in the works. I'm not going to buy the Boss Audio computers. SJC saved me from that. I seen a few pop up for like $35. I'm like, what's the worst, you know? And it's like 8 gigs of RAM and like, I don't even know what processor. It's got a quad processor. I'm like, that's more than I got. I don't know. It's just the same thing, man. It's the same thing as car audio. You don't want to shortchange yourself. Stu, Andy, is there a way to discharge rates on a battery? Well, I just know you can do it with math, but I want to get a 12 volt tester for that. I have one for my vape batteries, which is pretty cool, and it fully charges the batteries first, make sure they're 100%, and then it drains it with a 0.25 amp hour draw. So how you figure out how many amp hours it has is how long it takes to drain that. So if it would take an hour to draw that 0.25 amps, then you only have 250 milliamp hours, which is 0.25 amp hours. So the same way goes for batteries, and that's where you get into the C rating, is that discharge rate. of when you're testing it. So if and man, it's more than I know, but I know enough to talk about it a little bit here. Where, say, if you have I don't know, with car audio, it's very different because we're pulling a lot of current. Say if you were pulling, let's make it simple, 10 amps on your battery, and you're pulling 10 amps, and again, you know, just like the vape battery, you're pulling 10 amps, and an hour goes by, and your battery's dead. Well, that means that you have 10 amp hours or less in your battery. So if you're doing 10 amps for 7 hours, we'll say, you know, then then it dies. Then it's got 70 amp hours, and that's kind of how they rate batteries, but it's even a lower discharge. It's over 20 hours, I believe so, of how they get the amp hours. And I don't know what the current is. Obviously, the current has to be the same, and the time, and then it just depends how long it takes, and that's how you get your amp hours for the AGM. Now, the lithium, and that's where the C rating comes into play. But I feel like, you know, whenever you're discharged in something a lot more, it's obviously not going to last as long. So when you look at like a 1C rating, I believe that's the amount of amp hours it can draw in 1 hour, and it'll be dead. So if you have 1 amp hour, or if you have 40 amp hours, like the 40 JY, if you have 40 amp hours and you're pulling 40 amps for an hour and then it dies, you got 40 amp hours. So that's 1C. So then you do 2C. 2C would be 80 amps. So then that's how they have it rated. At 80 amps for a half an hour, it can pull it and then it'll be dead. So then you go to 5C, or we'll just keep it easy, God, 4C. 4C would be 160 amps continuous, and then how long it would last for that would be 15 minutes. So I feel like, you know, and that's where they say in the manual for the JYHP40 can charge in 15 minutes. So it can take 160, if not more, probably 4C, 5C of inrush charge to completely charge it within that 15-minute time. And that's where batteries are entirely different. I feel like they fight against that high current, you know, just of how electronics work, man. You know, this is, there's a lot into it. And that's why I really wanted to talk about that website that I stumbled across, man. And I still got the link to it somewhere. It just, people from Canada, man, they're pretty smart. They're really smart. But I feel like that's the easiest way to put it with the discharge rates, where you look at, you know, your AGM, you know, 110 amp hours, but that's not pulling 100 amps, you know. And even if it was 100 amps, say it was 110 amp hours, and you're pulling 100 amps, it'll last with 100 amps or 110, whatever it's rated at, 1C. If it can discharge that amount of current, it'll be dead in an hour. So amp hours at the end of the day are real, but how effective the battery is versus a lot of current is totally different. And I feel like that's the key on that. It's definitely the key. Deviant, we all side chatting on the Discord. I don't do the Discord. I'm going to have to make one just for you. And Deviant says this is for RGA. Because RGA can't donate because reasons. Much love, everyone. See you all around. Thank you, RGA, for tuning in, and Deviant for super chatting for him, man. You know, you guys are awesome. I do miss the RGA podcast and Deviant jumping on for a minute. Hope everyone's doing okay, man. Just thank you guys for tuning in. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Walter Keeley, he always be walking in towards the end of the show, but hey, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate that you're here. Walter, smoked an amp again. Need to start a GoFundMe. Man, you know, you're like me. You need amps that are dummy proof. It's not that you're dumb. It's just you like to push things to the ultimate limit, and you need something that's forgiving. Man, I know you want some power, and I mean, Kicker's working on some things. They've talked about it. I know it's not going to be here right away, but you tune in. You're a friend of mine. Man, you know, I feel like you could have some maybe better options just for what you're trying to do. You compete, you know, you're trying to learn your system and get the most out of it. It's not like this guy's quiet, man. This guy's loud. But dude, you know, you need something that's a little bit more tolerant. And you do save some money by going with different brands that maybe don't have the best protection circuitry, that won't go into protect 60 times for 40 hours or whatever it is. And you can save money as long as you never run into that problem. But sometimes it does. So it's just, it happens, man. I just want to see you happy. And I know some people get deterred. You know, they'll run like an amplifier that just isn't very strong, and they keep blowing it, and next thing you know, they don't have money to keep going buy another one, or do another return and pay for shipping, and the headache alone, man. You know, I feel like it's just, you need something different. You need something different, and I know everyone likes to push their equipment to the limit, but that's why I love the Kicker stuff, just because you can. You can, and even if you did have a problem, they'll take care of you. But man, I see so many people say they have problems with like amps or subs, and it's like, man, I don't know what you're doing, because I'd be doing some dumb stuff too. And man, we're on a roll tonight, aren't we? First the super chats, then I back out. Oh, it's okay. I was quick with that one. I knew it as soon as it happened. I'm like, oh, damn it. Again, I just needed a new mouse that isn't a gaming mouse. I got it because it says Steelers on it, and it lights up, and extra stuff you just don't need. But man, you know, Walter, I hope you have better luck, man. I really do. Yes, exactly. You got to get away from the budget amps. I mean, they're there for a reason. They have their place. Do not get me wrong. No trade secrets from Kicker, Andy. I cannot confirm nor deny. You know how it goes. Baba says, thank you, RGA, for contributing to the stream. Your input is most appreciated in the streams you choose to participate in. Notepad is always out when you're around. Absolutely, man. RGA is a guy full of knowledge, man. Smarter than I thought he was. Whenever he first started talking on the on the Hi-Fi Vega show, I was like, man, you need to do your own podcast. Like, you're good at talking, you know what you're doing. And the more I listen to him, I'm like, man, this guy really knows audio, you know, and he just happens to like car audio too, and here we are. It's awesome, man. Just happy that you're here and you're doing good. Yes, it's just, you know, it's got a back feature, and I tried to delete it from the computer, and it just, you can't. I tried. Maybe I could just take the button out. That'll work. That'll work. That'll work. All right, cool. Shoot, man. Well, do you guys got any other questions about power? I feel like I skipped a bunch of questions earlier. I'm scrolling up here. Not update. You should not have to change setting all the time. I know. And you think it's a software problem. I think this computer is a piece of poop problem. I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. It just seems like me. So it's this computer. So I don't, man. Well, at least I don't have to go live on Tuesday, right? I don't know. Maybe I should go live. I mean, we're gonna need an unmasked after show. Do you think, or nah? I don't know. I think that'd be kind of hard, wouldn't it? Justin Shockley with the super chat. Thank you, man. $10 super chat. Time is money, and I appreciate you taking time to spread your knowledge. Much love, man. Thank you. Absolutely, dude. Thank you, dude. Thank you. And that's, I know this was a little bit more of a, you know, kicking it with Andy kind of show where I'm like talking about stuff and going over stuff, but I feel like, you know, you guys do tune in, and there are some of you that have questions and want to know about it, and I'm learning too. And I just want to tell you guys what I know, and I love to hear from your guys' feedback along the way too, you know, and it's a learning process, you know, everything that we do, and I'm just one of the people to help push out the word as less misinformation as possible as I can. I try. I really do. I know I hate when I watch some people and it's like, what are you talking about? But I get it, but what are you talking about? That's why I try to watch what I say, but it's like at the same time, it's like, man, I'm learning too, man, and there's some things I'm real keen on, and other things it's just like, I'm learning about it, and other things I have no clue. And the ones that I have no clue on, I'm slowly learning about, you know, and it's just, I was talking to Kayla the other day, I'm like, I know these names, like the difference between an XLR charging cable, the barrel connector, the Anderson connector. Like, you asked me that a year ago, I didn't even know the names. I knew what they were, I didn't know the names, and it's like, slowly, we're all learning together, and it's just awesome to be able to do this. Again, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you guys all super chatting. Baba, I don't know where Dave is. Dave's probably in his jacuzzi, drinking on a twisted tea, watching some Rockford Fosgate commercial or something like that with Larissa. I don't know, he's too busy for us tonight, but it's okay. We miss you, Dave. And all the other super chatters and the cabooses and everybody else hanging in. Brian Townsend, does streaming on Facebook cause the super chat problem? It could be. Now, one thing I changed differently, I stopped going live as soon as I started having major super chat problems. Like, I just didn't have super chats at all for like a week or two. I stopped going live in my second YouTube channel, and that's another thing. Like, it could be maybe something with that, you know, going to all these things, but it's weird how it just doesn't come up. Every time I go live, guys, on my Facebook, when I go live and I hit it, and that's why I start talking in the beginning, but I want to talk, but I'm not looking at the camera because I'm waiting, and it says there is an error going live on Facebook, and then I hit live again, and then it goes through, and it does that every time. So maybe there is a problem. Maybe, you know, it's the Facebook being weird and doing something, but I doubt it. But it could be tripping the StreamYard. You know, you almost have to have someone on StreamYard sitting here like, listen, okay, all right, you got to tune in Tuesday, you know, 8:30, Kicking It with Andy, tune in. All right, now, tell me what the heck's the problem here. You know, because it's just like, got the guy that works at Dell. I have a Dell computer. We can't figure it out. You know, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. All right, cool. Well, we went way over the hour. Not too bad, but like, you know, it's Friday. I got a long weekend. You guys have a long weekend. And, you know, man, I got to pack up a few things, but I got some things to do. But I felt like we talked about a lot. I bored some people out. I could tell. I only got like 20 people here, but it's okay. You guys are the true and faithful. Thank you guys so much for always tuning in. And, shoot, man. I think that'll be about it. Next time you're going to see me, I will be on the Unmasked show live in studio, and it will be awesome. I honestly can't wait. It's going to be a blast. And flying down, so I haven't flown in 18, maybe 20 years. It's been a while. I don't know. How old am I again? Appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate all you guys. Get some SJC, RGA 25. RGA, you still here? It's awesome. Brian, you need a moderator. I wish I could. Kayla's too busy moderating the kids. I wish I did. Thank you, Walter. Appreciate you tuning in. Cornut, the Caboose, everybody. Thank you guys all for always just hanging out, tuning in. Let's get this outro going, and I'll maybe catch you at the end. We'll see. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay living loud. chugga, 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 choo, 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 and Cornut the caboose. Safe travels to Stillwater. Thank you so much, Cornut. Appreciate you. Again, thank you for the boombox, man. Love you guys. I will see you guys soon. Any last ones? No one's stealing it. No snipes. We're going to end it. I'll see you guys